This week, GOP leaders laid out their plan, the pledge to America for getting our nation back on track in their view. Well, Republican Congressman Devin Nunes has laid out even more specific ideas in this new book called Restoring the Republic. And he joins us now live from Washington with more. Congressman, thanks for being with us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Enjoyed the book. Let me begin at the end, really, by quoting something you wrote in the last chapter about your district and where your family lives, the San Joaquin Valley. The valley offers a glimpse of America's grim future if we continue our current trajectory. There, the radical left and big government combined to take a real-life Garden of Eden, a region with some of the most fertile farmland in the world, and reduce it to a blighted, drought-stricken calamity today. It resembles the Dust Bowl. What happened there?
Well, what I talk about is how crazy policies that have been impacting California have now been exported to Washington, D.C. And really what happened is the government decided to protect a 3-inch bait fish called the Delta smelt and cut off water to my population, to the people I represent. And that's not the only thing they've done. And so really when you look at what's happened in California, I am concerned that those politicians and those politics have been exported to Washington, D.C., and my book is a reminder of that.
And we're looking at some pictures of the San Joaquin Valley. In fact, you call, Congressman, the environmental lobby one of the greatest threats to our nation because, in part, they've either fabricated or exaggerated some of the potential harm, which you in your book debunk. And then you advocate the following energy solutions. We'll put it up on the screen. These are just some of them. Drilling in ANWR, drilling in the Outer Continental Shelf, expansion of nuclear power, clean use of coal and oil shale production. Look, Congressman, how are you going to get around the environmentalists? They're still there. They're still going to be filing lawsuits.
Well, what I talk about in my book is that we're going to have to, because China today is now using and producing more energy than we do here in the United States. And all this talk about coal, well, we're following behind in coal technology and clean coal technology. China is burning over 3 times the amount of coal that we do. They're bringing on a new coal plant nearly every week. Pretty soon they're going to double their nuclear power capacity. And what are we doing here in this country? We're doing nothing. And that's just not going to work. I mean, if we want to remain the world's superpower, if we want to promote democracy around the world, we are going to have to get back to producing energy. I believe that ultimately to get us out of this rut and to start producing jobs again in this country, we are going to have to tackle these tough energy issues that we haven't tackled for really three decades.
And I found it interesting that the caribou and the polar bear, in your book you point out, they've actually flourished in areas of human activity. Look, Chapter 4, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, you call them the big three, racking up roughly $67 trillion in unfunded liabilities. You would adopt your colleague Paul Ryan's so-called roadmap, whereby, for example, a portion of somebody's Social Security taxes would be put in personalized investment accounts for those under the age of 55. Isn't that similar, though, to the privatization plan that really didn't gain very much traction when President Bush proposed it?
Well, I get a kick out of folks that always attack my friend Paul Ryan and me and others that support our plans to save Social Security and save our nation's health care system.
Right.
We're the only ones with a plan out there that actually saves it. If we keep going on the path we're on, no one's going to have Social Security. And so what we do is we put a plan out there in writing. If you don't like it, then we can fix it. But if you listen to all the other politicians that are out there that quickly demagogue Paul Ryan and myself and others, they don't even have a plan. And so they're going to destroy Social Security. We're trying to save it.
Well, let me talk rather specifically about your health care plan, because you would repeal the new law just passed, and you would offer the following, again, based on Paul Ryan's roadmap, and I'll quote one portion of it. Universal coverage would be achieved largely through one simple measure. Depending upon your income level, a family of 4 will receive anywhere from $5,700 to $10,700 to purchase their own health insurance in any state. Where exactly does that money come from, Congressman, and does that do anything toward reducing the escalating costs of health care?
Yeah, so the plan does, if you look at the roadmap plans that Paul Ryan has put out, it balances the budget long term and it pays down our debt. So it really saves the programs. But let me give you a great example. This is the favorite example I like to give about Medicaid. If you're a single mother with 3 children today, the federal government is spending $11,000 on you today. And right now in most communities in this country, there's very few doctors who will see Medicaid patients. For example, in my district, only 20% of the doctors will actually see a Medicaid patient. We're spending $11,000 on this family. You can get a good plan in my district for $8,000. So, I mean, this stuff isn't rocket science. We just have to get past the politics of demagoguery and get on to real solutions for this country. And if we don't do it, I think we're going to pay a very, very painful price.
Let me quickly talk about taxes, citing the famous LAFFER curve that you have in your book. I think we can put that up. You point out that if taxes get high enough, it generates less revenue, whereas lower tax rates produce higher revenue. You would replace the personal income tax with a flat tax. At what rates?
At 10 and 25%. And so what we do is we take you'll be able to do your income tax on one page at a 10 and 25% rate. And then for businesses, we get rid of all the taxes and replace it with something similar to the fair tax. And let me tell you, that LAFFER curve is playing out in real time right now in California. You know, they continue to raise taxes out in California, my home state. And what's happening is that tax revenue to the government is decreasing, and now we're facing a $20 billion budget deficit out of a roughly $100 billion budget.
You would also replace the corporate tax with a business consumption tax, abolish taxes on interest, dividends, capital gains. Lots in the book, including immigration and a whole lot of other things. The name of the book is Restoring the Republic. I actually enjoyed reading it, learned a lot, and thank you very much for sharing it with us.
Well, thank you very much, Greg. Thanks for reading it.
Sure. Julie?
Well, the Obama administration's